Inhabitants of Mayo Muskuta in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon take to the streets to protest against continuous attacks by militants of the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram, and they are decrying what they have qualified as lack or absence of defense forces, security and defense forces to protect them. And they went to the streets protesting, demanding for protection from security and defense forces in that part of the Republic of Cameroon. And also in this newscast, we shall talk about the Social Democratic Front, SDF political party, which has said that it's going to take part in the upcoming municipal and legislative elections in the Cameroon scheduled for February 2020, as announced by the head of state Paul Biya earlier. The Social Democratic Front that conditioned its participation on the Anglophone crisis, indicating that the crisis has to be resolved before any elections can be organized in the Cameroon. And in sports, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon are clashing with Cape Verde in a qualifier game ahead of the 2021 African Nations Cup. The encounter is going on at the Amadou Aidjo Stadium in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Until now, the score remains 0-0 on both sides. Stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on EQUINOXE television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan, and we're going to begin this newscast right away in the localities in the Mayo Muskuta in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon, where inhabitants took to the streets to protest against continuous attacks by militants of the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram. They are decrying what they consider as lack or absence of protection from security and defense forces. Details with Hemin Iluga.
Fear and trauma still grips the inhabitants of Mayo Muskuta in the far north region. Sequential attacks from the Boko Haram terrorist groups leaves these burnt houses in some recently attacked villages.
Depuis le début de cette année 2019,
according to the inhabitants, close to 3,000 deaths have been recorded in their villages since the start of 2019. This other dweller says shops have also been targeted and burnt. A suffering population in need of help. Meanwhile, women have had their husbands targeted and have lost their lives. Today, they are widows. Kids have as well been made orphans with almost a shattered future. Villages, as it's now, have become so insecure, and once it sunsets, the locals seek refuge on hills, mountains, and bushes. We can't sleep. We are obliged to rush to mountains and bushes at night to sleep. We have women, pregnant and old, with children who rush and hide once it's late. If you see them, you will have pity for them. The recent attacks also targeted the local health unit in Muskuta, with the terrorist group making away with almost all medications. The health assistant says they were attacked in the past, a reason why, as it's now, they don't work overnight. Out of the over 50 villages in Mayo Muskuta, 51 villages have been completely attacked and erased by the terrorists. Today, the few local communities have descended to the streets and expressed their grief, questioning the state on why they have been abandoned. We have been abandoned. They say the Boko Haram have been eliminated. I tell you no, they are not. According to the traditional head here, the situation has left more than 60 orphans, 19 schools closed, and thousands of lives lost.
And several villages have been razed and many inhabitants of the far north region of the country killed in attacks by militants of the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram, and some forces of some security and defense forces have equally fallen at the battleground against the Nigerian terrorist sect Boko Haram in the far north region of the country, and the fallen soldiers were remembered in a ceremony by their colleagues notably in the Kutaba Air Force Base in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon. Manjikan Gebre has more.
It was an atmosphere of friendship characterized by the demonstration of parachuters at the Kutaba Air Force Base under the supervision of their commander Eli Romance Mezuezo at the site of General Aga Robinson, the commander of the 5th Military Base. The parachuters were celebrating their patron saint, Saint Michael, who is the founding father.
Nous le célébrons le 11 novembre.
We are celebrating on the 11th of November, even though it is not the real date on the calendar, because 11th of November is a very memorable day to us, since it was the day the 30th anniversary of the Defense Force was celebrated here in Kutaba.
J'ai voulu retenir cette date. Il y a également donc raison climatique aussi, parce qu'en septembre il pleut beaucoup, donc l'activité parachutiste est un peu difficile.
The Kutaba Air Force officials have also lost several of its soldiers since the start of the year in different battles. It was an opportunity for them to be remembered.
Nous n'avons cédé aucun centimètre de notre territoire à l'ennemi. En ce jour où nous célébrons la Saint-Michel, saint patron des parachutistes, nous vous rendons un vibrant hommage. Vous resterez à jamais gravés dans nos mémoires.
General Aga Robinson dropped a wreath of flower beneath the monument of the parachuters as a tribute to the soldiers who have perished while serving the nation.
And floods have killed one person in Lum in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the country. Several parts of that locality in the Mongo Division of the littoral region were flooded as a result of a heavy downpour. Details with Immaculate Fokwe.
Lum Chantier, a neighborhood in the town of Lum in the Mongo Division of the littoral region, invaded by floods. This inhabitant says the heavy downpour experienced in the town resulted to floods that completely buried the entire neighborhood.
Because when rain becomes all houses then, if you go there, look inside this house, there's water all, look at there, there's water inside the house, all the houses there's water inside. So when rain fall like this, these people are so hard, plenty, they are suffering very badly.
The heavy floods claimed the life of a 61-year-old Kenny Maxwell Afonso, who was on his way back from his plantation. He was carried away by floods and his body later discovered several hours in a banana plantation. Locals blame it on the absence of drainage systems and the existence of narrow gutters. We don't have appropriate drainage systems in our area. Circulating on the Vondo Bridge is now a nightmare. My whole house has been flooded. I wonder how I and my kids will spend the night. Our gutters are very small, thus affecting the movement of runoffs. If the size of the roads are increased with larger gutters constructed, then the situation will be resolved. Faced by the situation, the population find it hard to go along with their day-to-day activities. They are calling on administrative authorities to react fast in order to avoid a similar catastrophe.
In politics, after boycotting the opening ceremony of the November session of Parliament, the Social Democratic Front has announced that it's going to take part in the 2020 municipal and legislative elections in Cameroon. The party of National Chairman John Fundi had earlier conditioned its participation in any election on the resolution of the Anglophone crisis. The situation has, however, not changed, but it has rather been deteriorating, notably in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, with killings, destruction of properties, abductions continuing in those two regions. Details with Fomi Armstrong-Sanda.
The November session of Parliament opened at the upper, just like the lower house of Parliament, without representatives of the Social Democratic Front, SDF party, who say the move is to send a strong signal to the government of Cameroon.
The agenda, as you know from all the years that you've been interviewing us, we never have the agenda pre-hand. We don't know if the special status is even on the agenda. If it is not, we are strongly putting it across that we are abstaining today to drive a message home that we are not stupid as the government may take us to be.
Coming more than a month after the end of the major national dialogue in Yaoundé, senators want to see the resolutions of the major national dialogue implemented. When they recognized that there was a problem and there was need for a dialogue, we accepted to join them to find a way out. But 1 month after the major national dialogue, neither the resolutions on the special status nor others which could have helped reduce tension have been implemented. Within the ranks of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, senators also want the resolutions of the major national dialogue to take center stage. According to Senator Mbelamoki Charles, the interest of the nation should supersede individual interest. He thinks the Anglophone crisis and the resolutions of the major national dialogue is at the center of debate in Cameroon and cannot be ignored by senators this November. With regards to the delay in the implementation of the resolutions of the major national dialogue, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement thinks it is never too late to do things correctly, especially considering the Paris Declaration of President Paul Biya on the special status. Senator Gregoire Mbamba is confident that this November session of Parliament will handle the Anglophone crisis. The November session of Parliament is essentially budgetary, and senators will also have to scrutinize the 2020 finance bill to ensure that it ties with the expectations of Cameroonians. Though this might unfold till the end without senators of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF has announced plans to run for the 2020 twin election. John Fundi, in a release, granted investiture to existing SDF members of Parliament at the National Assembly and went further to name regional and national coordinators to coordinate the compilation and composition of prospective party candidates and lists.
And Vice President of the Senate, Senator Nkeze Emilia of the Social Democratic Front, speaking to a correspondent in Yaoundé, further elaborated on the frustrations of the party with regards to the way issues concerning the Anglophone crisis are handled by the Cameroon government. And she also elaborated on why the senators of the party decided to boycott the opening ceremony of the November session of Parliament. Take a listen to Senator Nkeze Emilia.
Every reason to abstain from this opening ceremony today, because our original idea for pushing across our issues with the government was to find a lasting solution to this northwest-southwest problem which is plaguing and killing our people. That is the reason why, contrary to the opinion of most Northwest-Southwesterners, we came to the national dialogue table. And when the issue of form of state, which was tactfully kept out, was forcefully brought in because of the pressure we mounted, a sketch came out that was of Article 62.6, Article 66, 62, sub 2, that of the Constitution, that the special status, put it that way, will be given to the Northwest and Southwest region. There is no way that a body is going to divert and come out with what is needed to come up with a special status without our consent. Therefore, if the head of state, after the dialogue, instead of telling us what he wants to do about the special status or the modalities that has to do with the special status, he instead calls for an election. We don't want to target bad faith, but we want to say something is missing along the way. So therefore, the agenda, as you know from all the years that you've been interviewing us, we never have the agenda pre-hand. We don't know if the special status is even on the agenda. If it is not, we are strongly putting it across that we are abstaining today to drive a message home that we are not stupid as the government may take us to be. Or it is not when they need us, then they show their shoulder, we come and lean. No, we are a political party which is manned and ruled by the ideologies of that party. If the elections have been called and Cameroonians are running around now to start piling up their documents, in the Northwest and Southwest regions, you know that the SDO of Lebi Alem was installed in the governor's office in Boya. Explain to me, who are those who are going to vote or elect the mayors, the councillors, and the parliamentarians? I've picked that because at least all televisions highlighted that. In the Northwest where I come from, 2 nights ago, the Dio of Widikum's residence was attacked and a military was killed. Tell me, how is it safe for people to come out and vote if the Dio himself is not safe? So therefore, we are saying that don't put the cart before the horse. Let this issue of the special status be visited. Let us come out with concrete measures to arrest this ravaging issue which is plaguing our regions. Then we can start talking about elections. If not, the same scenario where councillors were ferried in helicopter and senators were voted will repeat itself. And the world should know that the people who will be elected are not the representatives of the people. That is our message to Cameroonians. That is our message to the international community. That is our message to our sisters and brothers of the CPDM who are from the Southwest, who have attended.
Senate Vice President Senator Nkezi Emili of the Social Democratic Front SDF political party, highlighting the difficult socio-political and security atmosphere reigning in the 2 Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon with regards to the elections announced for February 2020, the municipal and legislative elections. However, the Social Democratic Front has said it's going to take part in the upcoming elections. And a couple of days after the information on the elections was made public by the head of state, the Elekam regional branch, or the Littoral regional branch of elections, Cameroon has said all is almost set for the municipal and legislative elections. The branch of elections Cameroon has not yet received any file from the candidates this far. Inosinaze reports.
To the Elekam Littoral Regional Delegation, the delegates Emmanuel Kwadika and his team await candidates who will arrive to deposit their candidature files for the legislative and municipal elections.
Nous sommes en permanence en train de contrôler le matériel électoral.
Since the convening of the electorates by the head of state, they had mobilized to prepare materials and polling stations in order not to be caught up by time factor.
Nous déclenchons tout de suite le processus.
A couple of days after the convening of the electorate, no candidate has shown up to deposit his file in the region. According to informations from various political parties which hope to present candidates to take part in the elections, internal consultations are still on and time allocated for compilation of documents to be deposited latest November 25th at midnight.
On doit retrouver un extrait d'acte d'acte de naissance.
The file must include a copy of birth certificate, certificate of nationality, non-conviction, party's investiture, and the certificate of registration from ELECAM.
Des Finances, depuis l'an dernier, a pris.
For the municipal, a residential permit indicating a candidate has been resident in a municipality within a period of at least 6 months must be presented. Still, the law requires that a municipal councillor pays at least 50,000 francs, while those vying for legislative are to pay the sum of 1 million francs CFA. The law orders political parties to take into consideration gender and sociological equality.
C'est deux conditions que la loi exige.
After the 2018 presidential election, ELECAM faces this time around a dual responsibility. In the littoral region, ELECAM personnel affirm there are only few issues to resolve.
La région du littoral,
that there are no major changes as compared to 2018, though the littoral region already has around 3,000 polling stations. Also, there are few updates to be made regarding available materials at various administrative units,
qui dans certaines circonscriptions peut suffire complètement.
As this elapses, ELECAM awaits candidature files. From past experiences, these files are often deposited at the last minute.
Ahead of the municipal and legislative elections in the Republic of Cameroon, and with regards to the unstable socio-political and security climate in the Republic of Cameroon as a result of the Anglophone crisis and the October 2018 presidential election post-election crisis in the country, the National Communication Council is stepping up the fight against hate speech and incitement to violence. This is why officials of the National Communication Council, the Vice President and other members have undertaken a tour of media organs in the country. They were in EQUINOXE Radio and Television today, and they met with the management of EQUINOXE Radio and Television, with the Managing Director Severin Chunke, the Editor-in-Chief Cedric Nufele, and other officials of the media organ to discuss on how to prevent the further spreading of hate speech and incitement to violence in the media. And yesterday they met with some journalists here in Douala, notably talking or discussing ways of curbing, or why not eradicating hate speech and incitement to violence in the media. And of course, one of the members of the National Communication Council, Charlie Ndicha, spoke to us after the sensitization meeting yesterday here in Douala. Take a listen. Take a listen to Charlie Ndicha. He is a member of the National Communication Council of the Republic of Cameroon, and he was one of the officials of the organ who met with some journalists here in the city of Douala yesterday within the framework of a sensitization meeting on the efforts to curb hate speech and incitement to violence in the media in the Republic of Cameroon. And this is within the context of the upcoming municipal and legislative elections, and also with regards to the unstable socio-political and security climate in the Republic of Cameroon. Take a listen to veteran journalist Charlie Ndicha. We'll be coming back to that extract in other news editions. Now we're going to talk about roads in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, notably in the called Bison neighborhoods. Many of the roads in an advanced state of dilapidation, and circulation has become more or less an uphill task.
Paving our way via the Colbison roundabout in Yaoundé, at the west end we come across a neighborhood called Kumasi. Here, mobility and accessibility is a nightmare. When it rains, the stretches of roads turn muddy and non-desirable. According to locals, they have been abandoned. It's like we have been forgotten. This affects kids who reach late in school, and at times they are sent back home. A situation which today stands beneficial for some, as inhabitants say the cost of transportation when roads turn this way increases at the detriment of the local community. Parents have as well been hit by this situation due to high transport fares. Even sick persons have missed losing their lives because of no access to hospitals via the routes. With such a situation, the people wonder when the roads could be constructed, especially as the C7s of the Colbison Yaoundé 7 Dios office go about their daily schedule as if nothing was wrong on the stretch. When it rains, we can't move around and kids hardly go to school. Look at the route the Dios services use. We beg on the government to help us. While waiting on the situation to be addressed, the locals have taken up initiatives to get on manual maintenance work so as to have the roads temporarily passable.
That is the situation in Colbison, in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, and it is, of course, the same situation in other parts of Cameroon, from the big cities to the hinterlands. Many of the roads are in a deplorable state. Now to the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, where some non-governmental organizations and civil society, as well as religious organizations, are now striving to empower the population as a result of who have been rendered almost powerless economically as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis. Derek Jato reports.
1 in every 2 persons in the southwest region is either displaced or affected by the Anglophone crisis, and the pains and sufferings are still there.
The situation that the communities and people are facing is very difficult.
Before the war, most of these victims were primarily farmers, and today their lone source of livelihood is either transformed into a camp or a battlefield, something that has been going on for 3 years now. Everything about them has changed, reason why the Catholic Church, through Caritas, is stepping in this time with another approach for intervention.
So this is why we are here, to bring people, to move people from misery to the total liberation as intended by the Catholic Church.
To Pierre Ernest Chinda, director of Caritas Boya, the meeting with these local resource persons drawn from the parishes of the Diocese of Boya was to educate them on how to manage projects. And representing the Bishop of the Diocese of Boya was Reverend Father Kingsley, who dwelled more on the follow-up mechanism that the Catholic Church has put in place.
I have been sent to convey the good message of the Bishop to the participants of this forum. We wouldn't want a project like that of the Caritas to be thrown into the hands of individuals who don't know what to do. And that is why we have gone as far as organizing this type of forum, to train people, to tell them exactly what is expected of them to do.
The ultimate goal of Caritas of the Diocese of Boya is to empower the various parishes to be self-reliant, thus able to cater for her needy population.
Coming up next, Talking Point. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in Talking Points. We are receiving one of the most courageous and outspoken female politicians in the Republic of Cameroon. Bergeline Tumu is a member of the Cameroon People's Party, the CPP of Kabanwala Edit, and also a member of the civil society platform Stand Up for Cameroon. Bergeline, you're welcome.
Thank you, Babila. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners, to your viewer, and to all those who, like us, who at CPP and Stand Up for Cameroon, stand deeply and firmly for Cameroon.
When you look at those images of Colbison, the bad roads, what do you think?
No, I'm not thinking. I'm no more thinking, because as your reporter said, it's the common situation in the whole country, poor road even here in Douala. So it's not more to think, it's more to act, because we know who are the causes of this bad road, why we have bad roads. It's a poor governance with a poor leadership, which is incarned by Mr. Biya. So the only solution, and we always claim is he must go, he must leave, because such kind of roads, you have it everywhere, in Douala, in Yaoundé, and they are not able, they are not even ready, they are not able and they are not ready to solve this problem.
And talking about the head of state, President Paul Biya, in France, taking part in a peace forum, he announced the implementation of the special status for the northwest and the southwest regions of the country as a way out of the crisis. What do you think about this announcement?
Babila, I'm not more thinking. We are used to Biya announcement. We are used to announcement. For 37 years, he was announcing. So it's like announce leadership, all what he knows to announce. Concrete result we don't have. While talking to this special status of Northwest and Southwest, till now, what are we putting, what mean special statute? What are we putting in special statute? What? You, as a journalist, do you have the answer? Me, as a politician, as a Cameroonian, do I have the answer? Only Mr. Biya no, and he's remaining and he's still announcing. So I'm not part of his conversation. He's conversing alone.
More than 1 month after the major national dialogue, there were complaints here and there that the head of state has been silent. He has not said anything about the recommendations, and now he goes to France and then says, I'm going to implement the special status. Measures have been taken to convert the special status to the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Isn't it a response to the complaints?
Response to what? The first response we are waiting from Mr. Biya is ask his army to drop arms. This is the first response we are waiting from him, not announcement. He has been announcing, but the war still in. People are still dying in Northwest. People are still arrested in Northwest. Prisoners still in prison because of Northwest. And he's making announcement why people are dying. The first thing we must ask him, ask your army, because they were the first to shoot, to drop arm. And then you will see how situation will become to going down. So he and his announcement, thank you.
It should, however, be indicated that the authorities have repeatedly been saying that the soldiers are not there in the northwest to shoot anybody, to kill anybody, to destroy any property, and that they have been very professional in their duties. That's what we have been hearing from the authorities.
Please, Mr. Babila, I think saying so is like we are taking life like nothing, because people are dying there. People are still dying in the northwest, and you're saying that there are no more shooting? So they have silence gone now? Do they have silence gone now? No. They are shooting and people are hearing. We are seeing people dying every day. We are seeing villages continue to be burned. And they are saying that, as they used to declare, they are declaring that everything is okay, there are no more shooting, army is no more. So they become friends with population, everything is good in the northwest and southwest. No. No.
You talked about ceasefire when you talked about dropping of guns.
Yes.
You were talking about ceasefire, and then people who are being detained also. But the head of state has said that people who are detained in connection to crimes that they are said to have been committed have to face the law.
Have to?
Face the law.
Which one? Which law? This terrorism law? The law that punish politicians who are making their political duty? Talking about those who are arrested, who are in prison. Don't forget that the first prisoner, the first that were arrested for because of Anglophone crisis, were people who never hold arms. The Manchos, the Terrence, the Conradi, and so on, never hold arms. So when you when you declare that they have to face law, for what? Because they were demonstrating peacefully. What is allowed by our constitution? Demonstration is allowed in our constitution. They were demonstrating peacefully without arms. They are in jail. They are in prison, calling terrorists. And they said they have to face the law. Which law? Please. Sorry.
Are you saying that they should be released?
Sorry.
And if they were to be released, will it solve the problem on the ground?
We launched, Cameroon People's Party and Stand Up for Cameroon launched a campaign called Free All Arrested. Since they have the arrestation were one of the weapons used by the government, we launched it because all the arrestations were made in violating even what the same law said. Arrest, the way they arrest people, the way they keep them, the way even they judge them was not normal. We're not normal and still not normal. And we are continue claiming free all arrested by asking for ceasefire, by freeing the arrested because of Anglophone crisis. It's clear that we are going to temper the situation
and appease the situation, and
it is the way that we will recover these two regions that we are about to lose.
All right, let's talk about the municipal and legislative elections announced scheduled for February 2020, and your party, the CPP, is saying no to these elections. Why?
No, because as we say in 2011, no. We say to national dialogue, no. Because it's a beer election. It is a beer games. He just wants us to accompany him doing his game. So we are not ready, and above all the reason that we have, there are three main reasons. First of all, since the presidential election, with all what we Cameroonians saw during the presidential election, the electoral system code change? Do we have another organization out of Elecam? Yes, Elecam, who is still controlling the election. How about Minat? That's still part of the electoral process, and many other ministers. So we have the same organization controlling the election. We have it during presidential election, and no comma change during this time, and we are going to election. No, we cannot. We're still addressing our problem of governance. We're still addressing the problem of governance. We have bad roads, we have poor roads, there is no water, no electricity. We see youth here in Douala, many youth with weapons, with arms, controlling the streets. So there are still a lot of issues and challenges that we are facing because of poor governance. Do we address this? And even when you go to municipal and legislative, are they going to resolve a mayor, an honorable, are they able to resolve the problem? So we say no. And the other third point is the security. We still have Northwest and Southwest region who are another part, who are really that we cannot more consider as regions, because there is no, it is controlled by separatists. There are killings there every day. There are village continuing to be burned, and so on and so on. And you see, you are going to election. So we cross all that body, cross all that blood, cross all these villages with people H's, because you are going to election. So how are they going to vote? How about the all the refugees who are out of Cameroon? How about the IDPs? How are they going to vote? How about all these Cameroonians who don't have official papers?
Senate Vice President, Senator Nkeze Emilia of the Social Democratic Front, highlighted all these things, this difficult terrain in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. But despite all of these, her party will be taking part in the elections. the empty chair politics that the CPP seem to be playing.
It's not empty. No.
Is it resolving any?
No, it's not an empty chair, please. We have to
boycotting of elections.
No, we are not boycotting. We are saying no because of reason, and we gave the reason which is linked to the system code, the electoral code, to the system of governance and the security. Those who decide to go to election decide to accompany Biya on his game. They decide to cross over dead body. They decide to cross over ashes of Cameroonian to go to election. From how many years we have elections in Cameroon? Have you ever have election where Cameroonians say, yes, we are happy, we elected those we want, those we have been elected are resolving our problem, the problem that we are addressing? No, but they decide to go. At our side, we are not boycotting. We are for election, but for good election, for good election with good code, with good laws. And out of, we are not going, we are calling Cameroonian, we are working, we are CPP and Stand Up for Cameroon, we are working as when you have a full board match and when the law, when the rules of when the rules of the game is not fair, what do? You call the spectator to jump in the stadium and invade the stadium, because if it happens, we know who are going to win. And it is the same thing that we are calling to Cameroonian to stand. We are saying it for long. We have to quick out this government. We have to quick out Biya. He's bringing out us again to election, after bringing us to national dialogue, after presidential, electoral. So every time we'll be following him on his game, bringing Cameroonian and Cameroon downs to KO. So we are not ready to follow him. We are ready now to bring back our country, and to bringing back our country, we need to stand and throw them out. And that is why we are calling Cameroonian. That is the time. It's really the time, because it's too much. Really, it's too much. We have to do something. And the people we meet, I'm calling the mass, are women, mothers, because the election that is going to happen is Muslim men games, and they not care of people who are dying, who are our children, those who are our children, our son, our husband. They are not even care. They are crossing, they are jumping over them and going to election. So we need to stand, we need to act, we need to push them away, we need to throw them out. And our calling women must for action.
Bejeline Tumu, member of the CPP and Stand Up for Cameroon Civil Society Platform. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, and remain knowing that we have to act to save Cameroon by not going to election.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us.
Is it okay? Thank you.